Hello, and welcome to a special leader roundtable here at Claire's. I'm Jordana Kamrut, head of HR strategy and transformation, and I'm joined with several leaders from Claire's who have been leading some major strategic initiatives with a technology underpinning. So I'm very excited to have a special conversation with them, and I would like to introduce them now.
Yeah, thanks, Jordana. My name is Sirish Anam. I'm the SVP for Merchandise Planning and Inventory Management. I'm very excited to lead Project Unicorn and that will help us propel us into the future.
Excellent.
I'm Sarveshi Shukla, and I lead I'm the VP over IT applications and concessions CPG line of business, and I'm leading Office 365 implementation as of right now, and very excited about it.
And I'm Casey Ray, the Vice President of Global Human Resources, Systems and Processes, as well as North America Field HR Business Partners, and I led the Workday project.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us today. I'm really excited to have a little conversation about technology initiatives and maybe a little bit about change management as well. So maybe we start with Casey because Workday is actually launched. Obviously, we're still in improvement mode, as we always are, but we did go live. So if you could tell me a little bit about that project, how it came to be, and why it's important for us.
A couple of years ago, Claire's did not have any global human resources system. So to get all of our people data in one place and understand all of the information that we can gather from our employees was not possible. We were doing a lot of things manually on Excel spreadsheets, on emails, and it really was not an efficient way to work. So we went down the path of finding a global human resources systems where we could do anything and everything that we needed to do for our people in one system. So we chose Workday, and we launched an 18-month project to get the system live across all 18 countries at one time. We were on time, on budget, and we launched all people aspects in June of 2022.
And when we say 18-month project, I mean, a lot of pre-work goes into these things before you even touch the project, correct? Could you tell us a little bit about some of the pre-work around, business evaluation, ROI that goes into these type of decisions?
Sure, I think we spent close to 10 months understanding the true use cases, how we would use it, what the need was, how a system would solve those needs, and then evaluating vendors to determine who would best meet those needs. For our environment, especially complex with the global nature of our business and the number of employees that we have, Workday was the clear winner of that, but then we also had to build the business case around Workday and decide what our scope was going to be and what were the key elements that needed to be in place day one for this initial phase, and then build the business case around that before we actually got started. There was a lot of discovery and research understanding how every part of our business worked in relation to our people functions, because since we didn't have a system, everybody was doing their own thing, and they could do their own thing because everything was paper. But that poses a lot of complexity and challenges and inefficiencies that we wanted to harmonize as much as possible to gain the efficiencies of a system.
So a lot of process design around an actual technology solution, since the system itself doesn't solve all the problems, correct? Yes, great. Well, as you think about that, Shirish, you have a pretty big project that you're spearheading as well, Project Unicorn, as we call it. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, absolutely. So I think when I think about Claire's and what we stand for, I think it's three things that come to mind. What we do every day in and out is to delight our customer, okay? And while that's an admirable goal to have, there's a lot of planning and preparation across people, process, and technology that has to ultimately come together. And sometimes you've heard it as localization elsewhere, here, micro merchandising, whatever the term is. At the end of the day, it is about getting the right product to the right store in the right quantities, at the right time. It seems simple, extremely complicated. So what Project Unicorn is set out to achieve is, I think, three goals. One is, like I said, delight our customer through localization. Two, in that process, give our associates the necessary tools, which starts with one, having a good foundation of data. So through Project Unicorn, we're putting in an ERP system. Okay, that will help us lay the right foundation so we can start to add on many more modules. And so that brings to the second part of the project, which is we're going to enable 3 key solutions. One is demand forecasting, another one is fulfillment, or aka replenishment, and third is a new way of allocating. So when you do all of that, our associates will have the tools. And what I love about this project is, you can play with technology to help serve you, and in that process drive more associate engagement. Ultimately, we all know this, when you do this and get this right, it's going to drive top line growth, bottom line margin, right? So that's the overall goal of the project.
So putting it in some more layman's terms for those who aren't directly involved, it's really about predicting what will sell, where it will sell, when it will sell, and making sure we really get tight on that with the data we have, the systems we put in place, and allowing then our associates to see that, also make some decisions on their own based on their knowledge, and be able to deliver the product.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent, excellent. And Sarveshi, you have a pretty big technology project that touches almost everyone as well. Do you want to talk a little bit about that for us?
Absolutely. In fact, what I would say is you all led the foundation of it when you started Workday's global implementation. I think that made us hungry for more, and it really launched us into this world where we could do so much more with technology. And Office 365 implementation, a lot of us have used it in many other worlds, many places. It is the reason it touches everyone. It is your basic email that we use in any corporate environment. It comes with a lot of suite of products that everyone uses on their day-to-day life. But now with this latest technology, latest innovation, it's going to really take the productivity for our associates to another level. It also, the origins of it started for what Casey was talking about earlier, that there wasn't something which was very standard across the organization, and what we were using was really end of life. And I think as I talk to my colleagues, it's one of those things where you all were making the technology work for you. It wasn't necessarily technology serving you in the way it should. So that became the foundation of launching Office 365 program. You all were involved in the entire process. In fact, you were one of the first people to push it forward and say, I think it's time, we should do it. So leveraging the foundation laid by Workday, now there was a global directory that I could go after and build everything out. And that's the program we are in the process of launching. At the moment, we are in the corporate phase. Very quickly, we are starting, in fact, as of next week, we'd be starting our store associates and the retail ops side of this program. And I think what it would drive very quickly in the next few months, we'll start seeing is a change at a very fundamental level. The challenges that we've had on very basic functions, products is going to go away, and that's what is going to drive your day-to-day productivity in many ways and forms. So yeah, it's been an exciting journey so far, and continuing to do it.
Excellent. And I mean, these projects have such deep-seated opportunities for us from a standpoint of productivity, effectiveness, delighting the customer, et cetera. But then there are those little day-to-day things that delight us as well. So I just want to ask you all what may have delighted you about some of these different technologies and process suites. I can tell you for myself that Microsoft Viva Insights has been really helpful. Some days it's great. Hey, schedule 30 minutes. You have some time to think. And then other days it says, you have 0 minutes to think, which tells me I need to do a few less meetings, which is great. What are some of the things that you love or have been delighted by some of these new technology suites?
I also love Viva Insights, but with Workday, even having an org chart was amazing, that you can see in real time and navigate around and find out who's who in the organization. That one for me was huge. And then I also really, really love the feedback functionality and being able to go in and see people giving positive feedback about their colleagues and partners in work was something that we didn't have before, and it was nice to see people using that to recognize each other.
Absolutely, excellent.
And I think, to me, in Workday, the transparency it drove from for me, for my org, for my teams, just like simple things like it reminding me of someone's work anniversary or someone's birthday. I think it just drove that connectivity within the teams, and it's been a very delightful product to use. I've used it in the past, and it's excellent. I'm happy that we are here now.
Excellent.
I think for me, like when I think about Project Unicorn, we are still in the build phase, but we are slowly beginning to cut over groups of stores. It's happening in Europe right now, and it's going on, it's on track and as planned. And one of the recent nuggets I heard was one of our colleagues in Europe, in the UK office, an allocator, starting to use the system, and actually called out to the global planner here in Hoffman Estates that, hey, the system is telling me that we have enough inventory. Okay, that was something that should be simple and obvious, was actually a challenge. Like Sarveshi talked about, right? A few minutes ago, which is, hey, we need to let technology serve you so you can make better decisions. I think this is a good use case, a conversation, a daily conversation that I expect to have between all of our colleagues in the buying and merchandising world. That should happen naturally, right? But now we'll have those tools. So this little story actually, that's what I was expecting, but it enlightened me, and also I was so pleased to hear that it's happening. So there's a lot more to come. I'm very excited for the future that's going to happen. I've lived through it. I've seen the fruits of putting technology like this, and ultimately I think what I'm very thrilled about is it's going to give us time back. And help us as colleagues to apply our cognitive thinking to our day-to-day life. Excellent. That's what we do. Yep. For the rest, we have the systems, and we can leverage the systems to do the work for us, right? So that's one example I would like to share.
Excellent. So we plan these projects, we go in thinking we know everything that's going to happen, we do our best, and then it's reality, right? So what were maybe some of the surprises or some of the challenges that came up in these projects, or still coming up in some of these projects? I'll start with you, Sarveshi.
So it's somewhat funny to think about in that sense. So we have been using Lotus Notes in this organization for a very long time. And when I started this project, when I started these conversations, to me it felt like, yeah, this will be a welcome change. Who doesn't want to move on to it? And Lotus has been, a very old, clunky technology, end of life. And I didn't think the kind of challenges that would come on, where it was an enlightening moment where people had made it work for them for a very long time. So they had designed their ways around a system that wasn't doing too much for them. And just unpacking that with them was a moment where, it's also a humbling experience, where, to your point, you go in thinking, yeah, we're doing the best, we're bringing in the tech, we're bringing in what is needed, but then you come into these environments with people who've done it for a very long time, and sometimes it surprises you that how is it working? How did it happen? But I think that was one of the challenges that came across. We're still working through it. We, as the implementation team, we all have full recognition of this fact now, that there are things that people have been doing around it that we need to find a way, find a home, find a better path towards, and then sort of work with people collaboratively and handhold them through this change. No matter how exciting we think it is, if we don't bring them along on the journey, then no implementation. It's people, process, technology, and technology is at the last part of it. So you just have to drive that change accordingly. And I think that was an eye-opening experience.
Yeah, you raised such a good point, because when people really design their work around whatever technology they have, and you bring something in that over time will be better, but in the beginning is a little harder, it definitely is a process that needs to be supported.
True.
Casey, how about you?
I think for us, every good project plan has contingency. But I think at the very beginning, we weren't clear enough with all of the project participants. And it was a big project with a lot of internal people involved cross-functionally, as well as external vendors, we probably weren't clear enough how everybody's role impacted someone else's, and everybody's commitment to hitting deadlines had an impact. And we ate up contingency very early on in the project, so from then on it was really a push to make sure everything hit on time, because any delay would cost millions. So there's a lot of pressure on the rest of the project to stay on track. And once everybody really understood how their part impacted everything else, it all came together and we were able to get there. But having that clear understanding up front, so that maybe we wouldn't have used so much contingency early, could have gotten the project probably to a better start and to a less hectic finish.
Fair, yeah. It's so impressive, the work of all the team members. But as you say, the better we get at these, the more we plan that contingency and pacing, so that we don't get those last minute scrambles as sometimes we have in projects. Shirish, how about you?
So I think what my colleagues told me here, Casey and Sarveshi, I think those stand true even with Project Unicorn. I think you can plan the best, you can put in the contingencies, but life is going to happen, right? And certainly with Project Unicorn, there were some additional challenges, like we're putting in an ERP, right? When you're putting an ERP system, your biggest challenge is like organizing the data. And then that was a huge blocker for the project. But I think I have to tell you, like, there are many partners at Claire's. Pretty much every function was involved, many external third-party partners who were working with us on this, but I think there was one goal that was clear to everybody, that we need to get past these hurdles. So I think that's what kept the project going. And yes, there were setbacks in timelines, but I feel great like where we have achieved. And even today, like as we speak at this moment, we have a war room going on where people from all different functions, colleagues from our partner organizations, they're all in this room trying to like brainstorm, work through the problems as we go through testing and development and things like that. So I think that's a testimony of like, sometimes you'll have these challenges no matter what, the best planning is put in place, but I think you put the intent and the focus, I think the partners can come together to deliver. So yeah, so I think everything you guys faced is happening in Project Unicorn and vice versa.
Yeah, you can tell how these projects sometimes go just by the terminology we use, right? We talk about war rooms versus collab labs. I mean, it's more like, hey, we got to get this done and come together, and this is driving against, the barriers that we have, and all organizations have those, right? To your point, old technology, data, processes that are entrenched for good reason. So it definitely is a journey, but a fun one.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
Let me ask you, it's not for the faint of heart. So what attracted you to technology aspects? You all have jobs that have much more than just the technology component, but there definitely in each of your jobs is a technology component. So what attracted you to it? Let me start with Sarveshi, and then I'll go to you, Shirish.
Okay.
So I think technology is my bread and butter. It comes naturally to me. And I think what I have seen is what technology does to the business. In the era that we are living in, a lot of transformations fundamentally are driven and propelled by technology. And I think what attracted me to this particular opportunity here and what we've been doing so far is that where Claire's is in its growth story, with the kind of great work that the business is doing, the time was right now for technology to further this journey, to join hands, to give it what it needs. And all those opportunities have opened up for us. Yes, it has its challenges, but so does everything else. And I think what we've been able to achieve with these different programs that are running, that shows the commitment of the organization towards really the kind of investments that when I was just entering the organization, I was told that we are committed to. I've seen that commitment that we want to see it through. And to Shirish's point, I've started seeing how it does add to our productivity, how does it add to the bottom line that it's supposed to, and where does it position us as an organization, whether it is internally with our internal associates or whether with our customers, how we are meeting them. And great work is happening across all the business pillars. And the fundamental horizontal foundation to all of it is technology. So So yeah, that's been exciting and it's amazing.
Excellent. Shirish.
Yeah, so I think for me, I'll start with a personal story and then I'll connect to the objectives of the organization, right? So way back, I was a developer. Okay, so I've always had a bias for technology because I've seen through my own career the leaps and bounds you can achieve by deploying technology in the right aspects to work for you, like we talked a little while ago, right? I think let's try to put that in the context of Claire's. Okay, we are growing consumer products across the globe. Mm-hmm. We are in 40 plus countries. Mm-hmm. Okay, we have a global catalog. Okay, across the globe. When you put all those three things together, we're going to have tens and thousands of points of distribution across the globe. And let's talk about localization across tens of thousands of distribution across the globe. That's where technology is going to be your friend. Mm-hmm. Okay? Humans, we are really good at thinking. Okay? Cognition is our superpower. No computer, no system, no technology can replace it, but it can complement you. And that's what is my bias in technology, because it's going to help give you that platform. So let's make the right decisions and let the system execute it for us, right? And that's how we're going to go scale and grow across the globe. So that's what I'm very excited about.
Fantastic. Casey.
Now, I'm different because I would have never, ever thought that I would be in technology. But I did a lot of different jobs in HR, and I'm the person that's always looking for how do we do things better, faster, easier. And in all my different jobs in HR, the answer to those questions a lot of times was a technology answer. So as I got more and more into kind of technology adjacent, found like I really, really like it. And especially in the role that I'm in now, where the HR technology touches so many different aspects. You have to be knowledgeable not only of the technology itself, but of the business and how the business operates, how every part of HR interconnects with each other. So it's exciting for me to continue to evolve with the technology. It's always changing. It's never boring. There's always going to be something new coming out, and how do we adapt what's new and take advantage of it, but also I'm not staying involved in all aspects of HR and bringing all the pieces that I like together into one.
Wonderful. So we're in various stages with these technology projects. Workday, we're moving into continuous improvement and next phases. Microsoft Office, we're getting the next group rolled on and getting set into our new ways of working. And Project Unicorn, we started some cutover, much more to come. But imagine a world maybe 2-3 years in the future. What does this system look like to you? Were we to continue to be able to invest in it, grow it, et cetera, just so we can give people a vision of how wonderful these systems can even be further on in the future? Who wants to start?
I can go.
Go
I
ahead.
think I'll say this. What we are going to cut over this year and what we are going to be leveraging it for 3 years from today is going to be vastly different. Mm-hmm. Because I think what we're going to see in the next few years is acceleration once we're past adoption, which is going to be 2023. Mm-hmm. So there is through Blue Yonder systems, there is an element of art of the possible. Mm-hmm. We're just peeling back the first layer of it in 2023. So imagine what you can come through. So what that mean is like, okay, let's pick some roles in buying and planning, right? For a planner, they're going to have more data at their fingertips that they can help manage their open to buy. So in putting in layman terms, an open to buy is essentially our investment that we put into the product we design and produce, right? So that has to generate returns for us. That's how we drive top line growth. So they're going to have the tools to do that. For a buyer, they will have insights to think about their assortment across the globe, okay? Those systems are not in today, but this core foundation is going to be established, and we're going to now start stacking all these applications over the next few years. So it's a multi-phase journey, okay? And this year we're going to get the foundation. It's like laying the foundation of a house. Now we can start to decorate, to make it like the house that we want to live in.
Excellent. So playing that through to our sales associates, store managers out in the field, how does that look for them?
I think what they're going to see is they're going to see that in their local store, or for consumer products, in their Walmart location or CVS, whatever that be, or Asda here in Europe, they're going to see the product that most resonates with the customer that they are serving. Okay,
Excellent.
and so what that will start to do is it'll make them be more efficient. Whether it's storing, in fact, actually, I like your question because I think it actually applies to many different functions. Like for the DC, they will start to see a free flow of goods. So we, today, because we are fighting against a lot of the, we're trying to structure our data, and all of those will be past those challenges. The DC will start to have more visibility into, how we are bringing in product and how we allocate the product, how it gets out. So there's more to come, but I think, it's not just the buying and planning organization or just the customer. There's so many other functions in between, and I think everybody is going to benefit from this.
Excellent. All culminating, as you said, in delighting the customer.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
And I think continuing on what Shirish was saying just now, it's what's happening between now and the next few years is the foundation is growing, the house is built out and everything, but what will define and what we are doing when we come to that 3-year mark or a 2.5-year mark, what you'll see is that true intelligence would be driving what we do. Right now, because of the challenges that we all face, lack of technology or an existing old technology that we're dealing with, that there's a lot of guesswork involved. There's a lot of manual labor involved in a solution that we need to get to. There's a conversation that Shirish and I have very often, and you've heard that from Ryan, I've heard that from him, that there's a lot of time people are spending in just churning out the data and making sense of it, and then delivering it to a meaningful value for you all to have that collaborative discussion at the ELT level. I see that changing. Like in 3 years' time, that's things on your fingertips, things that we are enabling through different technology, Office 365 being a part of it, that Power BI enabled. So now you're looking at something right on your phone as you're walking through. There's a vision that Ryan shares all the time that he wants to walk in a store or to a CPG partner, and as he's driving there, he wants to know who works there, what's happening over there, what were their sales, what were their same-store sales, and all of that is a very art of possible. It's going to happen, it's going to exist, and then there would be, again, hunger for more. So I think what I see then is we all are beyond these foundational challenges that we deal with, and just seeing how everyone has managed through these foundational challenges, it tells me that imagine if these were not there. It's like you're unleashing the potential of everyone involved to building something which is just really great as a product. And that's the brand value of Claire's anyway. And I think it's just giving it the power it so deserves.
Wonderful.
So,
I think while we did so much with Workday, it is still also very foundational, and there's so much more that we can do. The two things that stand out to me that I think will be really impactful and not that far off, one, we will have the ability to survey our employees on a regular basis to find out what's important to them and what will keep them here, what do we need to focus on as an organization to make sure that we're meeting their needs, and that will really inform our projects and the things that we work on to help the organization. That's one. The other one is all around talent development. And Workday has the capability to allow our employees to input their own skills and also look at jobs in the organization that they're interested in and what skills it takes to do that job, and then see their gaps, and then see the learning journey that they would need to take to fill those gaps, where people can really take ownership of their own development and their own journey and map out what they want to do while at Claire's. We can also see at a higher level in the organization, when we have key openings, we can take that skills inventory and their interests and see who do we have with these particular skills, who wants to go work in this type of job in this location, and get our roster of possible employees to fill those openings. And I think those will be really key items for all of our employees.
Excellent. So just connecting them to our values, right? This idea of we fundamentally care about each other, we care about what each of us are thinking, so the ability to tap right into that through surveying technology. And also this idea of growth your way, which is more of our pillar around what we say our organization's really about, which it is, right? Individual growth and enablement, and making sure that people have the ability to say, I am interested in this job, this location, et cetera, and now we know it very transparently. That's fantastic. All right, so I'm going to ask 2 more questions. This has been a fantastic discussion. You all have been wonderful. And the one question is going to be about career advice for any of our watching employees who want to sit in your role someday or other roles. And the second one's going to be a little bit more about our values. So starting with career advice, can you give me something, a nugget, a piece of wisdom that you've gotten throughout the years that you'd like to share on with our employees?
I think my advice would be take the hard jobs. Take the jobs that you may be hesitant to do, not really knowing that you can do it. Other people are shying away for one reason or another. But as I look back at my career, all of those times I had choices between an easy path and a harder path, and I chose the harder path. Those are the ones that are most rewarding and also help you get to where you want to go in your career.
Excellent.
100% agree with her. I mean, this is, I think, building on what Casey said just now, it's the hunger for learning. It's so very important. And I think what helped me and what will help a lot of people is that as you're building out, everything you undertake, just focus on what will you learn from that, because sometimes it's not the immediate that would help you. It's what it is building out for you, and that collective matters as you grow. And that's what you bring to the table. An experience is never wasted. And that is why what she said is so pivotal, because your key learnings happen in all those hard decisions, hard jobs. Yes, sometimes you love it, you hate it at that time, but it does carry the most weight as you grow in life.
Yeah, it's so true what the two of you said. It's and it's true in my case. For me, I think what's been a driving factor is, am I going to draw positive energy out of this? Okay, that's been the parameter that I always looked at, right? There were choices, whether it's tough jobs or an easy job, or even choices between 2 tough jobs, but it came down to am I going to draw energy out of it? Am I going to feel proud with what I leave behind? Am I going to create something tangible that's going to deliver value for years to come? And lastly, is it going to stand by itself when I'm not gone? When I'm not in that position? That's a true testimony of what drives positive energy for me. And so I would say, take your bets, reach out, raise your hand, say, hey, this is what I would like to do. I've done this for 5 years, but now I need a new challenge. Or whatever the case is for any of you all. So, yeah. So everything that I think we all said is I guess you're saying raise your hand, reach out,
Yeah.
and don't shy away from a challenge.
Excellent. So we have many core values. One of them is we celebrate diversity and self-expression. It's core to what we do at Claire's. And I want to ask this impressive group on the couch here at the round table how they think about that in their work, in the work of their teams, and at Claire's in general.
I can go. So I think for me, diversity is very important, because diversity of opinions, no person is right. I fundamentally believe we all bring something valuable to the table. So as long as we respect that and have that diversity of opinion, thought, challenges to each other, I think it drives a lot of value. And ultimately, I think it'll help us be a better team. We can play as a team together. And for me, I think, every one of the things that we, in the last half hour or so that we talked, I think every one of those, is the underlying element of it will help better enable us to play together as a team. And that's so core and fundamental for me.
Excellent.
I mean, Claire's, as I see it, and especially in the teams that I've worked with, teams that I lead, is a truly global environment in which you have people from all different thoughts, different backgrounds, different knowledge sets that come to the table. And I think here there is an opportunity for them to express for them to bring it forward. And a lot of good work has been happening. I know last year the ERG initiatives that were launched were also launched with this whole thing in mind. And yes, we have a long road ahead of us. We all have, and I think that's true for any other organization as well. But what it has done for us is that people see that, yes, I can be that. I can get there. Everything, everyone here, be it at our leadership level, be it in every part, every phase, there's the possibility that they see with this diversity. It truly is a celebration of what we are building it out here. And it's not something that we are planning to do on paper. It is something that we are putting into action. And I think actions speak louder than words. So it is what people do, it is what people see. And I think that fundamentally drives the diversity of thought. And the more diversity of thought, I think it just creates a very healthy environment for all of us to be, that there's nothing that they can say or do in the boundaries of respect that won't be heard. And I think that's important.
Yeah, the most diverse teams are the best teams. We need everybody's backgrounds, thoughts, opinions to come forward as we're working these projects and working together to get the best product. And we want to hear from everybody.
Fantastic. Well, I think we've covered a lot here, and I want to thank you for one of our first roundtable discussions. It was so fun. I know that we're going to do some more. So I want to thank also the hard work of every one of you and your teams for these major foundational technology and strategic initiatives, and everyone who has been participating out there in the world of CLAIRS, of which we cover many countries around the globe. We see all that great hard work. We see you delighting the customer every day. Thank you very much for all you do.